Greetings, friend.
If the Sea Giants wish to ally with the Naga, then they have become our enemy. Champion, show them that the Highborn are not to be trifled with.
A gigantic beast has risen from the waters. Send it back to the depths. The Temple of 1,000 Lights teems with spirits gone mad. You should remind them to behave.
How may I help? Be careful. I am honored. Till next we meet.
What's happening for the Alliance? It's too far away.
Check out that noise. will prove myself worthy. Moo, are you happy now? Have you forgotten your humiliation on the broken shore? How your precious High King was bent and broken before me? And you begged for your lives as he did, whimpering like some worthless dog. Your pathetic alliance will fall to dust. Your new boy king will bow down and serve me, as will all of you. The husk of Illidan will prove an ideal vessel for my master's glory. No Sandaros will rise, and together we will watch your world burn. Have you ever seen it? Let the end game begin. That's because Taurans are so adept at blending in with their surroundings. You will not stop the magic. The vessel must be made ready. Ashes of you. Heroes. The ritual is upon us. But first, I'll indulge myself a bit and finish you. needs of you. Behold, power given forth. Master, more power. My will is unbreakable. Have seen what I have seen. You know what we face. Now, mortals, follow me into the abyss.
Still recharging.
Bandu Thoribas!
Our isolation.
You strike first, and that's the best you can do? Behold the true mystery of the blade! Let your fates be bound together!
far away.
my hands. I alone have mastered the delicate intertwining magic of nature's phenomenal cycle. It seems a bit of pruning to do.
Too far away. I need to get closer.
Careful not to singe the buds as you burn.
I'm out of range.
I defy that which devours all things.
The Master has returned. We must ensure the household is immaculate. That's not the Master, imbecile. Unless he managed to claw his way out from under 2 tons of solid stone.
That would be impressive, considering I still have his hands in a jar.
Please, don't say such things. The Master is back and things need to be kept tidy.
I don't have a target.
if your reaction to the story of Andrew Bashago's testimony isn't, I accept that as credible and true, you've made your point, sir. Thank you for your service as a certified astronaut. Mr. Bashago, you have my vote. You have my loyalty and my fealty. If that's not your reaction, you're a CIA shell when it comes to Andrew Bashago. I'm joking. I'm joking. Joking. Humor. Humor. Sarcasm. Sarcasm. Folks, that's the other thing. We're going to have an opportunity to talk when reviewing this material because it ties into all the subjects that we've been discussing so far. It'll give us the opportunity to talk about some things. And one thing in particular I want to talk about, and if I start to conclude the proceedings tonight and don't address this fact, please go crazy in the live chat to notify me to go back. We got to talk about this thing. Everyone talking about the appeal to the lawyers. And it goes up and down the hierarchy of alternative media from the lowest of the low right up to Mother Jones and the likes of Dave Rubin, right? Dave Rubin, once a pundit on the Young Turks, now has gone solo and has carved out somewhat of a niche for himself. I apologize for the digression. We'll get back to Andrew Bashago. A niche for himself, talking to certain personalities that might be defined as new right. Alt-right is a dirty word, too many connotations. No, we're reclaiming it. No, it's new right, new centrist, conservative, moderate, whatever. Some others in progressive camps, liberal camps, socialist Democrats, anarchists, might find objectionable. Bear with me. Okay. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I know this is really crazy and inappropriate, especially because we're live, but we're live, so I can't pause. Hold on 1 second. Perfect. Up and down the stairs I run and critically realize, baby, you're out of shape. Dave Rubin, yada yada, Mother Jones article calls him alt-right or calls him right-wing. He threatens to sue them for libel. You know? Corey Good and the Serbian Alliance. What are they going to do to the detractors? Call the lawyers. We're going to call the lawyers. And Andrew Bashago throwing down the gauntlet. Going to be talking about motifs, themes. I like the way this guy works. Brilliant. I like the way the guy works. But in throwing down the gauntlet, we're going to address this bullshit of everybody saying that they're going to call out the libel attorneys, so they're going to sue people for defamation of character. We're going to do a little bit of ABC 1, 2, 3 of libel law. That's just going to let everybody know that whenever you hear anybody talk about suing another person for defamation, you can ask yourself, okay, what would it take to defame a guy who's out here claiming without any evidentiary support that he's a time traveler and he's been to Mars. Folks, I gotta tell you, it's a little tiny island that we occupy here. Really. It's getting bigger all the time. Disclosure, the size of the X-Files. Yeah, okay. Trust me. Trust me. It's a very small tide pool. It's a very small environment that we occupy. And it is only here that it is even a matter of debate whether or not the likes of Andrew Bashago, Randy Kramer, Duncan O'Finian, Corey Good, lest we forget. Hey, Shane the fucking Ruiner, right? It's a small world where a person could even say that and even have it be debated about whether or not that individual was a total fucking joke. I'm not trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator, but I'm trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator of common sense. If you go into any supermarket, bar, mall, shopping center, school, public auditorium, gathering of folks, church, AA meeting, if you go to any place where people congregate and say, hey, by the way, I want to let everybody in this room know that I'm a time traveler. Let that sink in. Not only am I a time traveler, folks, I've been to Mars. How you like me now? But wait. Get used to this smiling face because you're going to see a lot more of me. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Project Pegasus, Philadelphia Time Experiment confirmed. Bitch, I'm going to be president. What? What? So, without further ado, let's just go right in. So, the two-part interview with Andrew Bashago. Yeah, you get laughed at if you did that whole thing where I was setting it up where if you went to any place and said all that stuff, everyone would laugh at you. And they would react to and respond to you as if you were possibly mentally deranged and crazy. Sometimes the lowest common denominator is a great place to go if you want just a smack in the face to wake yourself up of your own little trip, and just understand that you don't have to acquiesce to it. You don't have to give your soul over to it, but you should be aware of the common human experience and make yourself available and open to that energy of people just, you're tripping out, you're freaking out. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Are we like underwater right now? Look around. Is anyone else acting like they're drowning? No. Okay. It's the drugs you took. Sit down, relax, wait. If you are under imaginary water, apparently you can breathe it. Don't worry. Settle down. It'll be okay. Now I know I'm setting myself up for an easy kick at my knees and knock me down because obviously, just because the majority of people think something is true doesn't make it true. What does make something true? We're going to go into this because in looking at Mr. Bashago's testimony, or, his interview with Randy Morgans, and looking at all the other narratives that people are talking about coming out, really what we're talking about is what should be the standard of proof. If it's a common narrative that I'm seeing over a lot of interviews with a lot of people about this subject matter. Also, the Jimmy Church Radio thing, panel, which was awesome because apparently no one knew what specific controversy within the UFO community Mr. Church was alluding to. And everyone kind of basically came to the same conclusion, which is happens all the time. This shit happens all the time. This is as common as anything. It also goes to show you that you could take a panel of well-learned UFOlogy enthusiasts and verified, I guess you could say, experts, and a fair sampling of them has obviously have no clue about any controversy regarding Corey Good, David Wilcock, the dark journalist Bill Ryan, or whomever. They think you're talking about, people on you're talking about people on YouTube. Yeah, those guys with the crazy CGI. That's no. That was my impression of the Jimmy Church radio panel. Whatever. Moving on. But what we see as a common narrative is, or a common theme is, what is going to be the standard of proof that should be applied? And those arguments are made forth. I think it's important to know Lenny, you're going to have to go, oh my God, it's one of those nights. Hold on. You can stay there? Stay there. Just stay there, brother. It's easier. I'm telling you, it's easier. Just stay there. Okay. I tend to get animated, Lenny. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this works. I love you. You're a good guy. Okay. Where was I? What should be the standard of proof that's applied? That should be applied. Andrew Bashago is going to make the argument that there's a standard of proof that should be applied. And he makes, I guess, the argument that he's met it. I dare say that it's still open to debate. Let's just do this so that we're not here all night. Okay? I listened. That's it, bro. Because you want to get up and then you want to get down. I'm sorry. I'm not a jungle gym. I'm doing things here. Give me the attitude.
Jose Altuve is like a great player.
You'll talk to me when it's feeding time. You're right. Yeah, exactly.
With a major energy upgrade.
Tried to beg. So what are you gonna? If you come back up here,
I could use a major energy upgrade.
Then upgrade to extra strength power energy. It's fast, powerful, just the right size.
You're wild,
like me.
But whatever.
Upgrade.
Leonard the cat. Leonard the cat. I don't know how long. On the pillow. It's right next to me. You want to do that? At least figure out what you want to do. Okay? You're all right, okay? I listened to the 2-part interview and I took brief notes. When I say brief, I mean writing down one line that'll hopefully prompt my memory. So right now, in order to keep some focus, to keep some sort of track, and to move things along, I'm simply going to go over my notes. Did I have time to go over them before I did this broadcast? No. Why? I just didn't have time. And if I didn't make the broadcast when I did, if I didn't start the broadcast, I would find some excuse not to do it, put it off for another day. What's the point? Let's get it done with. I made the notes. I watched the friggin' thing. Let's go through the notes. So what you're going to see, and here's me read off like cryptic one-liners, and then hopefully it'll prompt some sort of memory, and I will say something about it. And in 15 hours, we'll conclude the proceedings. Lenny, no, brother. I'm sorry. You know what? Oh, my God. One more time. We'll try it. This is it. This is it. Okay. Here we go. Come on. Okay. Here we go. What do you want to do? Let's just get you into a position. Let's just get you to... What? We're just going to go through... We're just going to go... God damn it. We're just going to go through the notes one line at a time, and hopefully it prompts the memories, and hopefully it has some sort of sense. I don't think this is going to work, brother. Leonard the cat is getting older. and now he really seems to. There's some people, like I had this grandma by marriage, but you never really divorce, people. So, distant great grandmother by marriage. I don't know. Fantastic woman. She lived to be 100 years old. And I swear to God, from the time that I knew, the duration of time that I knew her, where I was, cognizant, would probably be like between the time that she was like 69 and 99. And I swear to God, from 69 to 98, the gal looked, acted, and responded as if she was 65, right? As if she just got to the retirement community. And the last year, it was like she had done everything, had fought off time for as long as it could have, and it all came crashing down in one fell swoop. Within the course of a few months, she went from pneumonia to stroke to early onset Alzheimer's to senility to death. Right? She just fell apart. And Leonard seems to have hit some sort of nexus. He's getting older. You know what I mean? Like, how old is he now? I got him in 2000. If I tell the story about the whole thing with Leonard, we'll be here on that. We'll save it for his eulogy. Jesus. See, oh my God. And then we'll do what we can. Here we go. Let's just go through the notes. Anyway, love you. So there you go. He's part of the history books now, I guess. Andrew Bashaga, part 1. Let's run through part 1 as quickly as we can, because part 2 is where it gets awesome. Part 2 is when he throws everyone. I tell you, this motherfucker throws everyone under the bus. I swear to God, he throws people under the bus faster than me, right? This guy is throwing people under the bus left and right. And what's crazy is that if you A/B part 1 and part 2 of this interview, there's several people that in part 1, Laura Eisenhower specifically, Randy Kramer specifically, it sounds like he's almost bigging them up. It sounds like he's almost praising them and saying their testimony is part of the testimony that proves my testimony. We're all saying, why are all these strange people from distant backgrounds all telling you the exact same story? It's because we have this common history. It's because this shit's real. You gotta believe us, folks. Time travel and Mars travel is real. Right? In part 1. In part 2, it's a whole other story. I don't know if he woke up on the bad side of the bed, the wrong side of the bed, literally, but he's in a bad mood. They record the interviews consecutively. I think they recorded them in one fell swoop and just split them up, at the midpoint. So in part 1, this guy, Randy Kramer and Lauren Eisenhower, are coming out as okay folk. Believe you me. Believe you me. You know what I mean? Like a teenage couple who just did it in Friday the 13th, part 99, right? These two little camp counselors are not going to survive part 2 with Andrew Bashago. Oh no, sir. Oh no, sir. Down they shall come. Plummeting earth. Plummeting earth. Strange praise for the likes of Douglas Dietrich. Jim Mars gets fuck you'd, right? Richard Dolan gets fuck you'd, right? Michael Salla is, I guess, reformed now because now they're working together. But then again, Michael Salla was involved in the Randy Kramer testimony. So I don't know what we're going to do here. Oh, and in case you're curious, one of the leading authorities that Andrew Bashago relies upon to verify his story can also verify upon him to verify their story. Duncan O'Finian plays a critical role in the new Andrew Bashago story. And of course, our perennial favorite, Alfred Lambermont Weber. Who are you to say that the testimony of Andrew Bashago is bullshit? When Judge Alfred Lambermont Weber himself tapped him to write the foreword to some book about fucking paper about exopolitics and 9/11, I don't know. Narratives and themes. So let's go through part 1 as quickly as we can to get to part 2, where we can summarize, which I think is the best part. Maybe I should put a stamp into when we get to part 2, because when we get to part 2, people are going to have to know their narratives, their teams are forming. You can see what the teams are now. Okay? Who's on this side, who's on that side. We'll get to it. Anyway, here we go. At this point, I've proven my point, won my case. Pegasus, early 1970s, He's part of the critical bridge that's going to bring this technology that he's experienced. He was part and critical to the invention of time travel. And he knows in his heart of hearts, through dedication of carrying on the hard work begun by his father, he's going to liberate the people and make sure this technology gets to the people. And he's not looking for praise or fame, but he is very proud of the fact that he will be part of the bridge that brings this critical free energy, time travel, and other such technology to the common man, to the everyday person. Yay. He's relaxed, he's letting go of anger, and he's having more fun. You know, obviously, he's had his fair share of criticism, people criticizing him. I guess as this video is. Am I personally a believer in the Andrew Basiago testimony or story? No, I don't think he's made his point. I don't think he's proved his case. Even if we require only ordinary evidentiary support, Mr. Basiago, I dare say you have no evidentiary support. It's not going to happen, Lenny. We're not doing it. You're not going to... we're not... I'm sorry, hold on. I love him, and it breaks my heart to put him upstairs, especially now when I consider that probably these are the last moments that we're going to spend together. But there's a time and place for everything, and you have to do your job sometimes, and you have to work, and it's just too much. You know, back in the day, the dude could, do what he needed to do to stay in my lap while I talked or recorded or did whatever. He can't do it anymore. His sense of balance is all over the place. And we never declawed him, so I'm not wearing jeans. I'm wearing pajama pants, so he's ripping into my... It's too much. It's just too much. It's too distracting. So I had to put him upstairs, and it's breaking my heart. It's killing me. But what are you going to do? I want to be easy on your time schedule, too. Used by my father to communicate to the American people the truth of Project Pegasus. Andrew Basiago's father apparently died sometime in 1990. In 2008 is when Andrew Basiago came out as a public figure, a public proponent of this time travel testimony. Apparently, given the dates given by Andrew Basiago, I believe that his mother passed away in 2003. Father was unable to sit me down and remind me of what we had done. This was just a line that just rung out to me. That's all I did. Was I listened, and I jotted down lines that spoke to me and made sense. Father unable to sit me down and remind me of what we had done. So that language, that your father would have to remind you of what you had done. Andrew Basiago is often asked about whether or not these are quote-unquote screen memories or recovered memories, and he always kind of feints the question a little bit. And I'm sure he's going to be able to find an example or to point out to say, no, here at this point, answer the question, here at point, we answered the question. I think that if you just talk to people, the way you understand your story is going to come out. And the way we describe things that we've formulated, the way that we describe fictional events is different than the way that we recall or experience actual memories. And I dare say, when you say something like my father was unable to sit me down, because this is Randy Morgan's asking him questions, because this is critical to Andrew Basiago's story. If you want to understand Andrew Basiago's narrative and his persona, you have to understand that part of this crucial narrative is the relationship between him and his father. And I've talked about before that if you look at any of these people's story, or even if I were to free associate or mythologize or storytell, you would be able to pick out, what kind of roles do I put the fathers and sons in? What kind of roles are the mothers and daughters? What are gals like? What are authority figures? Do we trust the government? Is the army the good guys in this narrative, or are they the bad guys? people's real stories come out. And there's something about this connection between, Andrew Basiago and his father. But you're not here to, it's, who cares about my dime store psychoanalysis of a stranger? Right? Who cares? What that I think, that this is critical. Line spoke out to me. Andrew Basiago describes himself as basically the Huckleberry Finn of time travel. Cosmically privileged to have been present at the dawn, at the outset of the invention of time travel. Andrew Basiago's father apparently was crucial to the invention of time travel. I've said it before and I'll say it again, sir. There's no way in hell any scientist, any engineer, any inventor who wasn't a madman would ever test a new technology on his own son. Would never happen unless the person was a freak, unless the person was a quote-unquote bad father, an irresponsible father. The story makes no sense, but the story doesn't need to make sense. The only thing that Andrew Basiago needs to do is have an identity where his father and him are involved in this cosmic adventure. Or maybe I'm just jealous. Maybe it's that C.W. Chanter is just a petty person, a small person who is simply jealous of the fact that I am not the Huckleberry Finn of time travel, that I was not cosmically privileged to have been present at the onset of technology, that me and my father had a very mundane relationship. You know what I mean? He wasn't like a super scientist for secret NASA. Andrew Basiago has brought forth other witnesses. So here's another theme that we're going to see with Mr. Basiago is that the notion that at some point the aggregate of testimony givers, the aggregate of testimony of people, even though they might not have any physical support whatsoever. And this is a question. What standard should be applied? People are going to make arguments. And folks, I got to tell you something. It's one of these things. It's an art, not a science. Do you know what I mean? When does life begin? When you look at the decision like a Supreme Court decision like Roe v. Wade, I hope you don't think that they actually thought that they were like, life begins, we know exactly, absolutely here. You have to make the call somewhere. How is old enough to drink? How old is old enough to have sex? How enough is old enough to vote? You know that people reach milestones and peaks in their development at different points. That you could have an 18 and a 21-year-old, and another 18 and 21-year-old, where you might not say to the 18-year-old, why don't they let that kid drink? This is silly. He's got to hold on to it for a couple of years, risking, forfeiture of his license or legal ramifications of being caught with alcohol. Smarty pants, he's a good kid. Yeah, let the kid drink. And then you see 21-year-olds who you wouldn't trust to make decisions, that you wouldn't leave them alone. You might have a 13-year-old babysit them while you leave the 13-year-old alone with a 7 and a 2-year-old in the house, right? The 13-year-olds you trust more than a 21-year-old. But at 21, you can just go about, do whatever the hell you want in American society, right? Go out to LA, be a pincushion, throw your life away. So you make calls, and I'm not the supreme justice or arbiter of what is or is not the proof, or standard of proof to be applied. But I guess I'm one of those conservative people who think that it should be more along the lines of, factually support. Where's the evidentiary support? Testimony is a type of evidence, sure, yeah, and then written documents are another type of evidence. Physical evidence is another type of evidence. They all have different weights and bearings. So what should we use? I mean, at what point do you prove the point? Look, this is what he says. At this point, I've proven my point. That's Andrew Basiago's position. He's given this many interviews, this many presentations, and you'll see. He even says when it comes to the question, the legal question, if he's going to sue Richard Dolan, right? He's going to sue this guy, that guy, and the other guy. And what is he going to do, and how is he going to sue them? If according to Andrew Basiago's own testimony, this goddamn 3 hours of this guy, I listened to 3 hours of this guy, got talking, human being. Look, he's a person. God bless him. May all his hopes come true. May he raise the capital necessary to launch a viable presidential campaign. May he have a run at the brass friend. God bless him. Let's just stick with the notes. We'll be here all night. I'm on page 1 still. How long have I been here? 45 minutes? Jesus, my God.